Welcome, Watertown. We are going to do our first installation video of the new Boss fiber laser here in the metal shop at Watertown High School. This first video is going to be very simple. We're going to go through the steps of turning the machine on and then turning the machine off. This is important because there are a few steps that need to be done in order for certain things to turn on as you go, because it's looking at sensors of some of the peripheral parts of this machine. So first step, we're going to come up to the Boss laser, and we have a whole bunch of key controls and button controls and an e-stop here. We also have other controls here behind me. We have a couple of switches for vents and the chiller unit. Chiller unit's going to be over here. And another thing we're going to eventually be dealing with is going to be our gas control. We are working on moving our gas control outside so they're at the same location as the vents. But currently they're going to be right here for the cradles. We're not actually going to be turning gas on or off for this first step. I'll get into that with another video. So we're ready to turn the Boss laser on. The very first thing we need to do is get the chiller working. So if we bring the camera over here, you'll see that there's a white box on the ground, and that's going to be, basically it's a refrigerator with very clean water, and it's going to be running that through some various parts of there. So we're going to turn this switch right here labeled chiller on. It's going to start turning that machine on, and we're going to wait maybe a little bit just for it to start cycling and make sure that it's actually pumping that cold water through what we need to. As that's booting up, then we can start looking at the different things here that we need to turn on. We're going to turn the e-stop off. One of the things you do when you shut the machine off is we kill everything by turning that, so we're just going to give it a twist and it'll pop out. We don't actually need to pull, it's just a twist. Once that's out, everything here is going to work. So if you start hitting buttons and turning keys and things aren't doing anything, probably because you forgot to do the e-stop. All right, in order, we're going to turn the key control. We just have to turn it and bring it back. It's not actually going to stay in position. Once we do that, we'll see that this little indicator light up top actually turned orange. It's on. We're going to turn the laser head on. There's an actual separate power source for that. That key switch will stay in the on position. We're going to turn the PC power on. So there's a computer, an actual computer tower in here. We're just going to hit that button and let go, and it's going to start booting up the computer. Somewhere in here, if you want to hit the light, you can. Light turns on the light inside the machine. It's nice to have that on. And now that the computer's booting up, it took a little bit. We'll then hit and hold the emit laser for about a count of 1. It's not just a hit, you actually got to hold it briefly. And that's actually going to turn the laser itself on from the laser power source. So we've done all the ons that we need to in the correct order. Again, that was key on, laser on, PC on, wait a little bit, emit laser on, and we know that the chiller is up and running as well. So we're fully powered up. If we were to open up the software, it's going to be this AccuCut laser cutting systems icon on the desktop. There's 2 icons that look like it, Machine Config Tool and AccuCut, where the software we're going to use is this AccuCut. So we're just going to double click that. I'm going to open up the door just so we can kind of see inside the machine. All right, AccuCut's going to open up 2 warning windows as it's booting up. First one is operators should be trained properly and read the instruction manual before using. So if you've talked with your teacher, gone through this process, you're welcome to hit OK there. It's going to continue booting up AccuCut. And then it's going to give us this window here that says you must return to origin after starting. So we've restarted the machine. We're going to want this top button right here always, and that's going to zero out the machine itself. So when I click this, you're actually going to be moving the head to the X, Y origin, which is the back right corner, and the head to Z origin. So I'm going to go ahead and click that top icon, and you'll see it automatically starts moving the machine into its home. I always like to look in there first before I click that button to make sure that there's going to be nothing in its way as it moves to that corner and doesn't hit anything that might have been placed on the table. Okay, we're in the correct location. The next 2 things we're going to do is we want to turn on the red dot for aiming and the shutter. And I'm actually going to just do a brief move here so that we can see the red dot when I do that. You don't need to move it for this step. but I want the video camera to see this. So if we look at the part right now, we don't see any red dot down here. There's actually two lasers in here. There's the main cutting laser, which we don't want to mess with, but then there's just like a cheap Walmart little laser that you're not supposed to flash in people's eyes, but you throw it all around for cats. That's going to tell us where it's going to cut. That's not on. So over here in the software, zooming in, we're going to turn on the shutter button, which is going to make sure that the laser cutter is ready to go, and we're going to turn on the aiming button, and that's that red dot. So I'm going to hit shutter, goes green, nothing really happened, and then we're going to hit aiming, it goes green, and now because of aiming, we got a little red dot down here on the part telling us where it's going to be cutting. That makes it a lot easier to make sure we're underneath of our material. Well, that's the process of starting up the Boss laser, turning all the stuff on, opening up the software, zeroing it, and getting it ready to go. The next steps would be bringing in your file, setting up the machine to the right material, and possibly cutting. Let's say we've gone all through that and we're ready to do a shutdown process now for the end of the day or end of the class period. We're all done running the machine. So from there, we're going to go ahead and maybe we needed to save anything we had open. So we're going to go through that in another video, but make sure you do that. And we're going to close SipeCut. So SipeCut's closed. And then we're going to shut the computer off. We're not going to do a hard kill to the power on the tower because anytime you take a computer and do a hard shut off, it's hard on all the electronics. So we want to make sure we go through the actual windows here, power, shutdown, and let it shut the computer itself down for us. Once the computer's shut off, we can turn off the laser portion. So I'm going to turn the laser off right there with that key. I'm going to turn the light off, and I'm going to kill power to the laser itself. So now the Boss laser is shut down. And lastly, we're going to turn the chiller off. The chiller is always the first thing on, the last thing off, because of the sensors in the Boss laser actually read if the chiller's working and can make some trouble if it's not. So we're going to go ahead and shut that off, and we've done a complete turn on, turn off. So hopefully with this short video, you understand the steps and the importance of the order of operations for turning the Boss laser on in the shop and then shutting it back down when you're in. We'll have more videos to come on how to load your files, set up the materials, and make some cuts. Hopefully this video has been helpful for you. Thank you.